Hey everybody, I want to make a video about goodness. This is just like yesterday's video. It's taking forever for me to record this because I want to talk about something that it feels very simple, but it's really, really complicated. I want to talk about how good people are. I want to talk about people, like the inherent goodness of people. When I was growing up, that definitely wasn't how my parents felt about people. They didn't think that people were inherently good. They taught me that people were not inherently good. In fact, they were inherently evil and greedy and awful. So when I went into the world, that was the idea that I had about people. But when I met people, when I worked with people, when I talked to people, even people that I had conflict with, especially people I had conflict with, I found that they actually weren't evil. They were just like me. They wanted to feel safe. They wanted to be heard. They wanted to be acknowledged. They wanted their family and community to be safe and healthy and taken care of. And they would do almost anything, just like I would, to make that a reality. Frequently, that's what our conflict was about. They felt that I was threatening that. Frequently, I felt that they were threatening that for me. I am never going to not show up for workers' rights. I'm never going to not show up for gender equity. I'm never going to not show up for anti-racism, for transgender equity, for, gay rights and, healthcare, living wage, all those things that are just basic, endemic for me. And there are going to be people who are going to disagree with me on that for whatever reason. And I think it's important, not just in a sort of kumbaya way, but in a total sort of like concept, strategy, everything way. It is important to never forget that the person across the aisle from you, even the most odious fucking subject, those people are people. They're real people. They have their own ideas of how they're going to achieve their goals because of generational trauma, poverty, mental health, physical health, scarcity, racism, sexism, capitalism, patriarchy. We're not going to agree. We're just not. We are both inherently good people trying to do the right thing, and at least one of us is doing the wrong thing. I would even say that frequently both of us are doing the wrong thing. Frequently both of us are getting, caught up in scarcity and not thinking in an abundant mindset. Both of us are getting caught up in our own type of bigotry, looking at the other side and saying, oh, they're monsters. They're not real people. That's not fucking productive. That's not helping us. There are people in this world I will never agree with. I'll literally die before I would come around to their point of view. That's the true fact. But it doesn't stop them from being humans. It doesn't stop them from being people with their own story and their own mission and people who love them and care about them and things that they care about and are proud of. And when we reduce people who disagree with us, even about really essential, fundamental shit, when we reduce those people to sort of like being evil or being monsters, we're losing something essential. One, we're losing the knowledge that all of us have in us the capacity to be just like petty, shitty, mean, awful monsters. We do. I think a lot of us would never really get there because we've been blessed with abundant lives. We've been blessed with people in our lives who love us and see our potential and care for us and allow us to grow emotionally and, get to these new places of realization in our lives. Not everybody has that for themselves. Not everybody can take advantage of that kind of movement. Also, when we paint our opposition, when we paint someone who is against us with this sort of broad brush that they're just a racist or they're just an asshole. I mean, they could be both. They're not just that, though. When we fail to see them as people, our strategy is shitty. then we start fighting a monolith. We don't have a conflict with this person or this group or this place. We don't know what actually motivates the other side or what's important to them. And then we can't fight them effectively, and we can't actually beat them very well. We may win, but we don't win well. We don't convert people over to our view of thinking, which is how you really win. I think Abraham Lincoln or something said, I vanquish my enemies by turning them into my friends, or I defeat them, or whatever word. That's actually what you want. And I have been so hurt in my life by racism, sexism, classism, bigotry. That's a wound. It's a deep, deep wound. And so the idea of someone who is a racist, who is a classist, who is a bigot, who has harmed me and people like me, the idea of them coming over to my side, my way of thinking, my sort of wounded self, my child self doesn't want that. I want them to stay the fuck away from me. Also, my strategy mind knows that that's what has to happen. That kind of healing, a person who has done the wrong thing out of fear, misunderstanding, mental, physical illness, poverty, scarcity, trauma, that person needs to wake up to their humanity, our common humanity, and come over here. That person needs to join us on the, maybe people deserve a living wage and kind treatment and to be safe. Maybe like that's my fucking advocacy. That's my weird controversial platform, is let's fucking pay people enough to live and eat, and let's give them health care so that they can stay healthy and have good lives and contribute to society. And let's give them education so that they can all fucking benefit from knowledge and an expanding and we as a society can benefit from an expanding intellectual pool. And I'm never gonna get that. I might never get it anyway, but I'm never gonna get it if I keep pointing fingers and acting like I'm the good one. No, I've made mistakes too, and I've learned from them. And if I can make mistakes and learn from them, then I have to accept that the person across the aisle can do that too. I have to accept the inherent goodness of everyone, even people who will never not be in opposition to me. That they make terrible decisions does not negate their humanity. It might mean that we'll never get along. It might mean that we can never be on the same side of anything ever. They're still a human. They're still a flawed, probably very wounded human. And that is something that is so important to remember. I mean, especially when we take that all the way back down. Now we're not talking about, bigots and assholes and people who harm others. Now we're just talking about our neighbors, our coworkers, our staff, our, local elected officials. There are people out there who we are mad at. We don't like. They're making crappy choices, and we're upset. Also, there's still people at the end of the day. Also, they're still trying their best at the end of the day. And that is something that we disregard at our own peril. Thanks. See you tomorrow, I guess. Bye, everyone.